This is From Hero to Zero, a show about the misconception of the demise of the music industry. We talk to heroes to make sense of the alleged zero, the music business. Hi Maja, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, and how are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for taking time off your busy schedule and talking to us about Forever Still and yourself.
It's my pleasure.
Great. So Maja, Forever Still, Danish band, Danish metal band, been around since 2010, published the first EP in 2013, and last year, 2016, you released your debut album, Tied Down. Our first question. How do you perceive being a musician today, 2017, especially as a rock artist, as a female frontwoman, after the internet restructured the music business, let's say?
Sure, well, obviously a lot has happened, but at least in our career, it has been like this new music business. So when we started out a lot on social media as well, and just thought this would be the perfect way for us to keep in touch with everyone. And I think definitely social media has a big role in today's music careers. Also, the thing that you don't need a record label or anything to get your things published. You can do so many things yourself and people can get their stuff out. So there's so many bands right now. So I think you need to do something extraordinary and really keep in touch with your fan base to break through today.
How did you start building a fan base through social media?
Well, for us, we just started putting up some demos when we started writing together and just like testing the waters, seeing if people liked it, and we started getting response. And at least for us, it was very subconscious, just getting back to everybody, because it's nice, people who appreciate your music, you want to talk to them, because I mean, that's what you'd want yourself. If you tell somebody, I love this, you want to get something back. So it just came very natural for us to respond to everybody when we started putting music out. And it has been building from there.
Do you remember which platforms did you use in the beginning? 2010 or 13 was the first release?
Yeah, we started on MySpace as well, like I guess everybody else, but it pretty quickly became old for us. We started on Facebook as well, and we took to Twitter very quickly because we found that a lot of, especially our American fan base, was on Twitter. Not so much Europe yet at that point, but we got in touch with a lot of people over there who loved it. So we actually just tried to reach out to as many platforms as possible, just again testing the waters, feeling what is fun to do for us and where do people want us to be. And now we're also on Instagram, and we use that mainly. We had Snapchat too. We mainly use the Instagram story now. It's easier, just on the go, and on Tumblr as well. So just pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere, I see. Sounds like a lot of work, is it?
It is. I mean, we manage everything ourselves. So it's a lot to respond to. And by now we're not able to get back to everyone. Like in the beginning, we got back to every single message and comment, and it's just not humanly possible anymore, but we still write people back every day, so we at least get to talk to a lot of people still.
Which is a good thing if you can't reply to everyone, because that means that there's a lot of engagement from your fans.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic. Also, while I was researching about your band, I didn't know much about your band, but it was very interesting doing research. I read that, I saw an interview on YouTube where you mentioned that everything from the beginning was do it yourself, that you also had to raise money to actually produce your EPs and so forth. Can you talk about that? Was it difficult? How was it? How did you raise the money?
Well, we didn't do crowdfunding. We haven't done anything like that. Okay. So we have basically funded it ourselves, and we have done pre-orders though. So people were able to pre-order stuff. For us, we have just tried to keep our costs as low as possible. Mikkel, whom I founded the band with, is a recording engineer. So he records everything, he mixes it and masters it. I do our album artwork and band photos so far, and the music videos. And then we have just had to invest in equipment instead of like every time we want to go into the studio, it's another, bunch of money. So we liked it like that, and it gave us some flexibility we thought was fun.
Flexibility in terms of what kind of terms?
Of releases and going to the studio. You know, if you want to do some changes to a song you haven't finished yet, you don't have to book a time and put out some more money. You just, okay, let's go in and do it again because we can and make it better. And if you have some ideas, and when we were independent still, we just thought, okay, now we kind of want to release a song. Then we can go straight into the studio and put it out like next week. So we love that.
Interesting. When I was reading about your history, which is not that long, of course, because you've not been around for decades.
Right.
However, I found very interesting that you planned, well, actually, that's a question. Was it planned that you had a trilogy in EPs?
Yeah,
and what
definitely.
was the motivation?
It was planned from the get-go, yes. For us, it was the story we wanted to do. We had a concept in mind about this individual struggling through a lot of things and getting to a brighter place. And for us, it just made a lot of sense to put it into chapters. The first one being a bit darker, second one being the roller coaster ride, and then the third one, which also made the completion of the album, was actually like starting seeing the light and letting go of all the negativity. And for us, it also meant that we could release it more frequently instead of just putting out an album and, okay, guys, and you have to wait for several years and years for the next one. So we decided to just release an EP once a year and then follow it up with music videos and lyric videos for basically all the songs, just to keep the momentum going and be fresh in people's minds.
Mm-hmm. Did you release the EPs physically and digitally?
We did with the first two we did both physical and digital, and the third one wasn't an EP in itself. It became like part 3, like on the full album, so like as a collection, and that's the one that's tied down right now.
As a young artist, you started in a business where, as we mentioned, the music business has changed its business model. So album sales or physical sales decreased drastically and streams became more important, allegedly.
Right.
For you as an artist today, as a young artist, how do you see that?
Well, it's the truth. That's the statistics. But I definitely find that when people go out and see a show, they still like to have something physical to bring home. And I do the same thing. When you're out there in the moment, you're just excited, you want some memorabilia. And for me, it's still a CD. And for a lot of people, they still like to have that CD. I expect it also to be linked to the people who come and see the music, because they're from a generation where CDs were the thing. And then you go out and still buy CDs. So we definitely still sell at shows. But of course, not nearly as much as used to be.
Are you sad about that? Does it bother you that CD sales are not as important as they used to be?
Well, I think you just have to keep with the like current, just do what needs to be done instead of worrying about, oh, it was so much better back then. Yeah, sure. But a lot of things are better now. You see so many more mid-level bands actually making a living, where in the old industry, it was a lot of bands making like a lot of money and then people making no money at all. Now we have all these mid-level bands that can actually like pay their bills doing music. And I think that's an exciting time and must be for a lot of bands. Beautifully
said. I read that you rented a rehearsal space big enough to jump around and, if I got it right, to test your show. Is that correct, first of all?
Sure. It probably sounds a bit bigger like that, but we just made it a priority that we wanted enough space to actually practice our show in the room. And in Copenhagen, they tend to be very small and very moist and very expensive. And we decided to actually rent a room big enough and then rent it out to people. We said, we're not gonna rent out a room. We don't want any responsibility. We just want to pay to be in a room, but it ended up like that, and we have a really nice room. So yeah, we do rehearse as a full show, and we have had recorded it in the room as well, so we could go home and see what we were doing.
Is that part because nowadays it has been said that revenue streams are different than back in the days, so most of the revenue can come from touring, from shows.
Sure.
Puts a lot of pressure on artists to create a more high-level show. Is that one of the reasons, or how do you see that?
It's not the reason, but you're absolutely right. A lot of the money are in the live scene by now. For us, it's just about wanting to give the best possible show when people come out and see it. And I don't think that would matter to us if that was where the money was or not. It's always, when you go out and see a show, for at least for us, we find it that so many people are boring to see live. They're concentrating on the instrument, they're standing still, not very energetic, or just writing so difficult music that they have to like really concentrate and focus. And for us, we've always loved like the shows that has like a great punk rock kind of energy, like very old Nine Inch Nails and Manson, and just like a bit aggressive and punk rock and fun on stage is most fun for us, and it's the most fun for the audience, and that's what we would want to see when we go out and see a show.
In your live shows, do you use backing tracks or any kind of technological support for your show?
Yeah, we do. We play with a backing track. It's a very big part of our album, all the electronic stuff and atmospheric stuff. So it definitely just a song like Once Upon a Nightmare, the verse is completely electronic, just atmosphere and synth. So we definitely need that.
Well, Maja, it was very interesting. Thank you so much and all the best with the album and the tour.
Thank you so much, and my pleasure.